Welcome, everyone, to the Was It Good Though podcast, where we discuss, debate, review movies and TV shows, old and new. I am one of your hosts. My name is Jazz. I am joined with Jason. Hello, Jason. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Our other co-host, Chris. How are you doing?
Hi guys.
Oh,
I'm doing
okay.
good.
First day of class, Chris. You had to wait.
Yeah, hi, my name's Chris. Nice to meet you guys.
Hi, Chris. What's your addiction?
Right now is orange slices.
That's so healthy. All
Hmm.
right, gentlemen. This is episode 23. And
Ooh, that's Jordan. Let's go.
well, that's funny for what we're about to review. This is our third Marvel film, I believe. We will be reviewing Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. Just dropped, just came out. When this will be released, it would have came out this past Thursday. Yeah, so if you have not seen this movie, it just dropped. So this
Nah.
is your spoiler alert. We will be discussing this film, which means we will be providing spoilers. But before you turn the pod off, please be sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, follow us on our socials. And once you get to check out this film in theaters, just come back to the pod and see some of the stuff that we discussed for this episode. I'm excited. We've been talking about this movie for a while. I didn't throw my popcorn at nobody at the end of the film, so that's a positive there.
Well, that's good. I don't know why
Have
you
you
would
ever
do
have
that.
have you have you ever thrown popcorn at
It's
somebody?
funny because y'all didn't get the call back, but we'll be revisiting as we go along the episode. So yeah.
But
Um,
wait, you ain't answered Jason's question though. You ever threw popcorn at somebody at the movies?
no.
Oh, you're missing
Oh, okay. Duly noted. Um,
out.
but since the movie just dropped, we fresh off of seeing it. Um, I don't know the kind of format. Do y'all want to have our regular format for this or any new ideas? Since this is actually, I believe, our first pod that we did right after a film drop that recently released. Normally we give ourselves a few weeks. So, but Black Panther, we was like, nah,
Can't wait for the Panther.
right. So, which one of you guys will be taking us to Wakanda?
I'm down. I was thinking maybe like the open discussion like we did for the bonus
Okay.
episodes, She-Hulk and House of the Dragon. I think that'd be good just because, streamlining the movie when it just came out, you may miss some things. It may not, be as captivating. So uh
I like
of
that idea.
course, yeah. All right, cool. It's just as spoilers, of course. But this movie, sequel, our third Marvel movie, I think that's pretty dope that we've been getting some good quality Marvel content this year. San Diego Comic-Con video, we had like a D23, I think. We discussed that. Of course, our She-Hulk episodes. And yeah, we back to this. So first and foremost, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. And I was very curious to see how they would handle what happened to T'Challa in universe. So of course we know in real life, obviously he passed, but how they would deal with it, and it ends up being a illness that he deals with, and they jump right into it. They're trying to figure out how to save him. Shuri is trying to figure out, what she can do. We see her messing with the heart-shaped herb early on, which when I saw that, I figured that it would be a callback later on in the film, especially with um I'm sure we've seen the trailer, so we can pretty much assume that Shuri was going to be Black Panther at some point in this movie. But just seeing how they would incorporate that back into the storyline, I thought it was pretty well done. It was very emotional. This film was extremely emotional. I definitely shed some tears a couple of times, and one of them was at the beginning when we found out that Shuri couldn't save her brother, and I thought it was very so a lot of these scenes, and I'm curious. I know they're great actors and everyone. I want to get you guys thoughts on this too. How much of it did they dig and say T'Challa is not gone, but Chadwick is gone? You know what I mean? Like it's one and the same at this point. He became, Black Panther. He was that character in real life, and you saw him. You thought T'Challa at this point, and just seeing Shuri, her reaction to hearing her brother pass away, and then of course the Queen. What did you guys think about that acting?
This scene was heavy.
Yeah.
Like you said, they went straight to it. I completely forgot about the whole transition that they always have at the beginning of their movies and shows with this opening scene.
Yeah.
And I was just like trying to figure out, like you said, how they were going to incorporate it, and just seeing it unfold, I was done. I was like, okay, so we 5 minutes into the movie and I'm already crying. Like, and it wasn't really much music playing either.
Yeah.
It's just you saw the reaction of the Queen and Shuri, and it was just it reminded me of our episode. I'm trying to think, because it's just, you understand that these actors went through this as they were filming, because Chadwick passed away in 2020. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And we saw news reports and everything that a lot of the stuff was delayed, and how we were just trying to figure out how were they going to do this without him. And so I mentioned in our earlier specials how, even though to us as viewers, we just see these as actors, but then these are people that work together. These are colleagues, and they lost a colleague. And like Ryan Coogler said, he almost gave up his career because of the loss. So, you realize these emotions that they're feeling are genuine. And so it was just, this opening was wild.
Yeah.
Like,
how'd you feel about it, Jason?
A lot of emotions. It was a rush of emotions. Like you said, they not to step over or reiterate what you guys said, but I'll go into the procession that they were having. Everybody's dressed in white, stepping down. You see the people around. It looks like the people that are there. It looks like they're because it's supposed to be a celebration of life, right? Like they're having a celebration of life, but the family, the people that was in the circle, they are tore down. Okoye, she, they're carrying the casket, and she's done. Like, she looks done, and she's always been the one that doesn't really show a lot of emotion beyond when she dealt with her husband. So seeing the direction, well, not knowing the direction of it, and I really didn't look at the trailers beyond the initial trailer that was going on. I was really interested in the direction they would take the characters in here. I don't really feel like I feel like we had a focal point, but I feel like it branched out to many different people. So there was a lot of impactful scenes. So I feel like a lot of different storylines have been created in this movie that can branch out in a multitude of ways. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that too. I think one of the whole central point of it was grief and how the characters handled it. And then of course you see Shuri, how she handled it. She buried herself in her work pretty much. And you see that happen, a lot of times with, people when they deal with something. She was really focused on that. And the Queen, we had the time jump, of course, a year later. And the Queen is in front of the council, the United Nations. And this scene, I saw. So this part was in the trailer, I believe, when she was saying, we've lost our king, and you guys think we're vulnerable and everything. I like how they had that going on with. You see the people actually trying to invade and get the vibranium, and the whole bait and switch thing, and how they did that. This was our first, action sequence of the film. Jazz, like, what was going on when this happened? I thought it was dope.
I wasn't sure exactly where they were going with it, and I definitely didn't see the Warriors on the other side. I was just like, oh, they just laid a trap for him. And like this fight scene, us getting it at the beginning of the film, I thought was dope. And like you said, with them transitioning of having that scene, and then you have the scene of the Queen speaking to the council, and that scene pissed me off, because just having, did y'all watch the original? Did y'all watch the first Black Panther before watching the sequel, like within the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, rewatch. Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you see why T'Challa didn't really want to open Wakanda up to everybody, and so you see this scene, and you just like, you see why he didn't want to do that. But I was just, it was intense, and it made me also think, okay, is the Queen going to be front and center? Because we didn't really see too much of her in the first film. She featured here and there, but now she's like at the front. So I was curious of how much of an impact her character was going to bring to the film, and we see it brought a lot. Queen Mother Angela Bassett.
Man, look.
You know what? Seeing her, and then like Viola, like the two, just them this year, that's that mother figure. Like, if y'all could have any mother figure in a movie, out of Viola Davis, Angela Bassett, and Loretta Devine, who would y'all pick?
Angela Bassett for me
Yeah,
personally.
I'm picking Angela.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all just gonna leave Annalise out there?
She'd be all right.
So who you picking? You didn't say.
So it's been Angela Bassett for a long time. And I'm not gonna say it's switched up, but Viola is close. But Angela Bassett for sure.
All right, so you pick the same person, and I mean, it was cool. I mean, it was. I mean, you kind of prolonged something that you were gonna do anyway. But I get it. I get it.
All right.
She was just saying Vowel is
was,
like close, like
I mean, I'm saying she would have let us know she was this close, but she still didn't get picked. Like that's cool.
Hey man, next movie, you know.
You did. That's basically like Flavor of Love when he brought New York back and still didn't pick her. Like you brought that, you made like a heavy point about Viola, and you still pick Angela. But I get it. They get some great actresses or actors.
It's actresses.
Politically correct is actor now. But
so Angela is the dominant one?
No, it doesn't. It's just unisex at this point. But what I was going to say is Miss Angela Bassett, for your portrayal, best supporting actress. They don't change that piece, Jazz. It didn't change that. Oscars. She needs a nominee for her portrayal of Queen Ramonda in this movie.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I think she did a really good job of portraying like a lot of emotion, and of course it was an emotional, movie, and then her character. But I think one of the biggest things, and like I said, we're gonna be jumping around a little bit. So the scene I'm speaking about is when Shiri and Riri Williams got captured, and she's talking to Okoye in the throne room, and she's just like, I've lost, and then you really realize like everything that happened. Like she lost her husband, she lost her son. She was just like, I lost all of this, and I told you not to take shit. So when she was, doing that, I thought that was real dope. But back to the original point, we get this other scene where Lake Bell is. Are you guys familiar with her? Okay, so when I found out she was cast in this movie,
her character was so random.
It was very random, and I'm like, I seen her coming up, and I'm thinking she's gonna be like a big, character. And then the Atlanteans, or I don't know what their name was, but what's their like? What was it in?
I never.
It wasn't Atlanteans. Yeah, they had their own name.
Are they Telokins?
Telokins. That's what it is.
Okay,
Telokins.
gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
Never mind. Okay, I didn't know if they were.
Yeah, we'll just go with that until we get it right later. But they just came up and wiped her out, and I'm just like, I thought she was a big deal. So that was cool. But I guess they had to, exert their dominance, and I thought that was really interesting. What'd you guys think about when you first saw them on screen?
When I heard the music playing from the water, I immediately was just like, oh yeah, they about to just kill everybody on this boat.
Yeah.
Because is there like this, is it like a siren or like a sea creature that sings and that attracts their victims through their singing?
Yeah.
I can't think of what they're called, but I immediately thought of that, and I was just like, oh, they about to kill everybody. So it was just also weird, like did y'all like the jellyfish that they saw before the scene of them? I thought that was pretty cool. And I was just like, okay. Jellyfish. You said what?
And some jellyfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. But this scene, like you see them jumping on the boat, and like they were so fast with it.
Yeah.
And they was just trying to get everybody out of there. Lake, she got good aim. She took a few out, so she thought. But the fact that she was able to run from them, because they were just so fast, I was like, oh, okay, she plot armor. Get you on that plane, but we see that it ran out. So, which I wasn't expecting, because I thought they were going to be able to get away to where she could actually tell them that it wasn't people from Wakanda, it was something else. But nah, she didn't get a chance to do that.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when they was in the helicopter. Like I think that was Namor, like swinging him around. He was like, "Hold on." He was like, "I was like, to what?" You get swung around the helicopter. So, but it was cool. Namor, his character, like for me personally, he's probably my favorite villain of Phase 4. Like, and he wasn't full on villain, but just I think the complexity of it, like him coming out. What's wrong, Jason?
You said he wasn't full on villain?
No, I mean he was like more anti-hero-ish.
What, Chris?
He was more anti.
He literally went and killed the queen
He was an anti-villain before that, but once he killed the queen, full-on villain. I was like, I hate
I
this dude.
I disagree, and I'll tell you why. So he took when he kidnapped Shuri and he took her down to his homeland, he was explaining how important everything is. Like we got his backstory with his mom. That was the relatability aspect with him and Shuri. So they were, connected. His whole thing was he didn't want to go to war with Wakanda. Like he never wanted that. All he wanted to do was protect his people. And he was correct in the sense that they weren't really the threat. The threat is the outside world. Like he was
Mm-hmm.
upset that T'Challa opened up Wakanda to the outside world because he knew what was going to happen. Like they were going to
Mm-hmm.
try to, take the vibranium for themselves. We saw it at the beginning with a French lady. I don't know if the soldiers were French. I'm assuming they were, but
They were French.
like,
That's what they thought. She was
yeah,
Okoye was speaking French to them. So
yeah,
yeah.
and it was just like you see what they already going to be trying to do, and even we saw Valentine. I forgot her name, but the lady from
Bye.
Falcon Winter. So yeah, Val, she came in and she was like, she was talking to Everett Ross, and she was like, if only we were the only country with access to vibranium. So like Namor knows that they're dangerous. He just wants to keep his people safe. Lupita, oh, we're gonna get into Lupita in a second,
But
but
but I mean, I'm gonna let you finish your point.
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
was
let
just gonna say once the queen she went all in and she was like, "Yo, get my daughter back by any means," and she killed one of his people. Like, what is he to do at that point?
so he Namor his whole thing in there because of that, like I said, because of the T'Challa thing. I guess I'm assuming it's cause and effect. But his thing was he wanted to get with the Wakandans. So they said, y'all either gonna be allies, we gotta go to war with y'all. He
Mm-hmm.
there was no ifs, ands, and buts about this situation. He had
Yeah.
to kill he said he had to kill Riri to make a point. So regardless if Shuri and them would have did that, he was gonna fight Wakanda. But he wanted them to team up and do the same exact thing Killmonger did in the previous movie. He wanted to go to war against the world. He's like, because we can be the most powerful nation and we can do this and they'll leave us alone type thing. So yeah, cool. His initial thought process, if they would have just teamed up and just kept people out the way, that would have been one thing. But he was like, he told me he's gonna conquer the world. He wants to Corey, he said to burn the world down with Shuri, because I heard you at the water. Chris, I don't give a damn. That's what he said. I heard you at the water say you want to burn the world down when she was referring to when her mama was telling her about about her
Mm-hmm.
grief with T'Challa, and it was like what we do after years we burn the transitional clothes, and we said that's not how I feel about this, because if I burn this, I want to burn the entire world. And he just used the same exact thing he heard in the water. He brought that back and he said, we can do this together though, and we can take everything. She was like, bro, I don't even know you, first off. And like, no, what you doing? That's not what I'm on. Like
Did you bring up Corey?
I did bring him up.
That's why I made that face. Like, why are we bringing
That's why
up
I brought it
Corey?
up.
Forget it.
I did. I brought it up.
Yeah, it's cool. Jazz, what did you think about Namor? Like his stance? Did you like more villain or anti-hero? Like, what was your thoughts?
Soon as he killed the queen, I said, kill him. Like, he needs to die. Like, soon as he
Well,
killed the
yeah.
queen, like, but prior to that, I understood his view. And I was with him. I was like, yeah, Siri, go ahead, team up. Y'all seem like y'all got a connection. Y'all can make some really cute babies. And then Wakanda and all of them could be just chilling.
Okay, but Chris.
But then, no, I'm just saying, like, they seemed like they was gonna have like a good connection. And I was like, oh, they look cute. Y'all didn't get that vibe when they was talking and he was telling her his story?
No.
Well, that's what I got. So anyway, I was like, oh, but I was just like, no, he gonna be the villain, because do y'all remember that they were saying the actor came out and said his character wasn't a true villain? But everybody say that about their character, because then you look at the character in the movie and be like, nah, he was a villain, because Wanda said she wasn't a villain, or Elizabeth Olsen said Wanda's not a villain, but depends on who you ask. So I just, but yeah, like after he killed the queen, I was just like, nah.
I see. Well, that's the
I mean,
interesting thing.
did
I
your
think it
stance
makes a
not
great character.
did your stance on him not change after he killed the queen, and after he said moan your losses, like bury your losses and moan all of that stuff? Like, you didn't
I didn't see him as a full-on villain. I just saw him as an anti-hero doing what he had to do. Because in his eyes, the Queen and them were the threats. Like the Wakandas were the threats to him. He didn't know any better. He saw that someone, Riri, who was you know, the central form of the conflict in the movie, she found something to detect vibranium. He obviously knew that that would be a threat in the wrong hands. He wanted to eliminate the threat. The Wakandas were trying to keep that threat. Now, I'm not. It's not to say that the Wakandas were wrong in trying to keep Riri alive, but in the eyes of Namor, he's like, why are you trying to keep this person around who could potentially destroy all of us and y'all included? So he was just doing what he had to do, in my opinion. He didn't know. He didn't have the same context of the Wakandans and us as the viewers. So for him, it's just kind of like, okay, this is an issue. I'm not saying I agree with his stance. I'm just saying I feel like he's not like a full-on villain. Like when I think full-on villains in Marvel, I think like Green Goblin. He was just because. Like he was evil just because.
Is he a full on villain, or is he? I mean, somebody that need mental something wrong with his head. If that's your stance on everybody, I can argue everybody is not really a true villain.
You can argue all you want. They don't make it right.
They
Green
don't make
Goblin's a full-on villain.
they don't make them more right.
Green Goblin and Namor is like
I feel like I think everybody will in the Wakanda name. I mean the Taloki, all both of them. I mean they wanted to protect their people. I understood that part, but the lengths they would go through or to go through to actually protect their people, like they were gonna kill kids for it. Like nah, it's kind of wild.
yeah, for Namor, it's just kind of like it's sort of up in the air. To me, I didn't think he was wrong in a sense, but I didn't necessarily agree with what he was doing. It was just, I think it was good for him. It made a good character because it was complex and it wasn't clear cut, like full on. I want to take over the world just because I'm a bad guy. It was just, brought some depth to it.
I mean, he literally said he wanted to take over the world because they had vibranium.
No, but I'm saying it was because he was protecting his people. You know what I'm saying, Jason?
I get it. I mean, but
Yeah.
I guess it's that. I mean, it's that. But I think that's what makes a villain and it layers them because it's like, all right, cool. This is not what I wanted, but shit. Now that I know, or that I have, if I can have the backing from somebody that can do what I can do, we can really cause some damage out here, type thing. So I don't know what his mindset would have come from, but also with in that, I wonder if it would have changed if Shuri was able to get that bead from the kid because she was trying to rushing them out of there. If she would have been able to actually save her, would it have changed? That situation. But based on him, he said if they would have come for them, regardless, he's attacking, and so his mind was already made up, and he looked at it like a betrayal because they used that conch or that shell to talk to him, and then in that entire that scene, the backside of it, she's in there and the kid's shooting everybody, and it's a non-lethal round, but it was definitely lethal.
It was lethal up close. Yeah. So, um, but yeah, of course, we talked about Riri Williams, who was introduced in this film. I got Spider-Man vibes, the way he was introduced in Civil War. It was sort of around that same thing where we didn't really get his origin story, you know what I mean? Like her origin, but we got like an introduction to her character and pretty much what to see. She has her show Ironheart coming out. It made me a bit more excited for her. I like her character in this film. What y'all think about her?
Yeah, I definitely liked her character. It was, and like her sarcasm also reminded me of Peter.
Yeah.
And so it was like really good parallels, and like there was some really funny lines dropped in this film.
Yeah.
Like it was a nice amount of jokes. So they gave you like a balance, like, oh, we're gonna make you cry, but we're gonna throw a few jokes at you so you can laugh a little bit. But like the interaction when her and Siri was in her room and she just like, wait, am I getting recruited? Like everybody in my theater started laughing at that, and she was just like, because she knew who Siri was immediately. And so like that whole scene in her dorm room I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then like she got her own garage with like all her tech. Chris, did you see she had 3 screens?
I did see that. She did have multiple screens. So listen, I'm not mad at it. Shout out to shout out to y'all.
But I thought this was dope because I don't really know much about her character. So like all of the stuff that I'm seeing right now is all new to me. So I don't have any like background information on it. But I thought this scene was cool. So she's like the mini Tony Stark / Siri.
Yeah, so and the good thing about, like you said, Jazz not really knowing, in the comics, there's been like people don't really like her that much. I guess the way she's written or whatever. I don't know if she's a woman, black woman thing, or just the way her character is written, or probably a combination of both. But she's not very popular in the comics. But I'm excited for it because in the movies they can sort of reinvent her character. So like it's almost like you started from scratch in a sense because you
Right.
can write her the way you want. She's integrated into the MCU the way they want. And I thought it was dope that she got to interact and have that like combination with Shuri. That was like a cool like peers right there. But yeah, she's pretty much a genius. I don't know if she's smarter than Shuri, but she's definitely on that level. So and I thought it was cool how she had the suit already prepared, and when they bust into the the garage, you heard one of the FBI or CIA, whatever it was, agents. They was like, "Is that an Iron Man suit?" And then he just got
Yeah.
shit. It's like, yeah, it is. Like he's still around. I thought that was dope. And then we got this action sequence. Of course, it led up to the Talokians again on the bridge, but of course, we had the whole chase scene similar to the first film,
Hmm.
almost.
Hmm.
Jason, how do you feel about this when it was going on? And
And that chase scene was dope. I knew it was like it felt too good to be true as they were getting across. It was like, man, everything is just going well. Also, I like to shout out to Tony when Riri lost oxygen, falling out
Mhm,
the air back to
mhm.
Avengers when Tony had blew up the ship and he fell out, which is what Thanos. This reason Thanos was like, no, I got to meet this nigga. I got to get him out of here. So yeah, I like that call. I like that callback. I like when they made it to that bridge and when everything blew up. I was like, oh no, it's about to go down.
How did y'all feel about the scenes of like the action scenes where the camera slowed it down? Because we
Oh,
got
like
we got a
yeah.
few fighting scenes where they were going at it, but then the frame slowed down to where
Oh
you saw
yeah.
it, to
Yeah,
where
that
it
happened.
stop it. But they use that a few times in this. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it. They used it in the Sherry and Namor fight, and they used it when when they got across the bridge after Riri blew up the police cars, and then they got blown up by the bombs. It was just like a slow motion thing. I thought that was a cool touch.
Yeah, it
It added
was.
to it. Yeah.
And them they was it was I don't know what they had going on because she, when Okoye was fighting them, like she went crazy and like she killed three.
Yeah.
But the other guy, they kind of showed how strong he was. Like she broke this man. This leg broke. Did she break his leg? Am I tripping? Like she broke his leg and or she hit him hard enough where it looked as if she broke it, and he was like, "Hold on."
He
And he
got back
got back.
up.
He got back
Uh,
up like, "No, good." He was like, "Hey, y'all go back to Namora to his people," and the dead when they rose back up and they
yeah.
walked.
You know how mad I would have been? I would have just gave my all, beating them, and then I go to the big guy and I turn around like, oh damn, they still alive. Like,
Yeah, they just going back. No, I thought that was interesting. I wonder if they were like holding back a bit because I don't know if they really wanted to kill. You know what I'm saying? Because like they had superhuman strength, they were super fast and everything, and just Okoyo, she's cool, but like, come on. So I was just curious about that. People holding
and
back.
then, and then her shoulder got popped out of place too, didn't it?
Yeah,
She was
when
able to
Yeah,
pop
he,
it.
they weren't playing. I like the Koye storyline in this movie. Like I said, the way Ryan divvied up the screen time for each of these characters, it didn't feel like just fluff. Everybody,
hmm
it felt very impactful.
hmm
Um, and a lot of one, I know grieving is one of the themes, a common theme in here, but also
yeah,
tradition, and accepting new a new way.
hmm
Because we see Okoye has to accept a new way, as Shuri's situation, she has to accept tradition. So it was nice seeing how they played those, on both sides. But
yeah. I thought that was cool too. And then of course Shuri gets captured and Riri gets captured. And of course another side plot, Everett Ross, he was in the first Black Panther. And I believe he's gonna have I wouldn't be surprised to see if he comes back up in Thunderbolts. Just because of
Absolutely.
him and Val,
I,
like that's a loose thread. So
I don't, I don't see it happening because he's in police custody and now he's on the run like Captain America now. So if he back with Val, they probably gonna kill him. So now he gonna be in Wakanda
Did
with
y'all
them.
well no,
know?
he wouldn't be with Val in
I'm
Thunderbolts.
saying I don't see him being in Thunderbolts because I don't see where he would fit in that storyline
Yeah.
personally.
Did y'all know him and Val was married?
That was the twist, Jazz. I didn't, but no.
Yeah, I didn't before the movie. I caught it during the movie, but that was
No.
sick.
What was your reaction when y'all saw Val?
I was like, hey, I know her. I was
I
like,
was
it's
like,
her.
I mean, we've been look. I mean, so we've been we kind of been looking for her to pop up somewhere. We was expecting her. Well, we were expecting her in She-Hulk. I was expecting her in She-Hulk possibly to pick up Abomination for their crew.
Oh,
So
right, yeah.
Mhm.
so it was dope to see her come back. I wanted, I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't. I wanted to see, you want to see somebody from the past, some kind of like, oh shit, they gave, So it was like,
Yeah.
but that's Elaine. I love Elaine from Seinfeld. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's always dope to see her.
Yeah, it was interesting. And then I don't know where we still don't know where her deal is, but the story is piecing together. So she was in the end of Black Widow, which led into Hawkeye, and then she was in Captain America and well, Falcon and Winter Soldier. So with US agents. So it's something, come in and it feels like a war between the government and maybe I don't want to say Wakanda strictly, but like the power, the sort of the superhero side. It's like the government is really trying to take over different things and really put their own Avengers, you know what I'm saying, together in a sense because the Avengers at this point they're gone. Like everyone else is pretty much, rogue or they're doing their own thing. So it seems like that's what they're trying to do, and I'm interested to see how that whole thing adds up. I thought it was funny with Ross, and when he got the beads on the bridge, that was kind of like sus because I'm like, okay, these are just here, and
They look
everybody else.
staged.
Yeah, and I was just kind of not so I didn't think stage. I just thought it was very convenient that they were
Right.
just right there and Val and everybody was there, but then we see later it was staged. So
I'm not gonna lie, like I thought Shiri did that just so Ross could find it, but then as it
Yeah,
was
too.
going on, I was just like, would she even put that much confidence in him? Because when she said, I can't wait to see my favorite colonizer," like theater laughed at that. Like they had a
yeah,
few good jokes, but I was like, did she set this up for him? Because she doesn't seem like she has too much, um, like depending on his intelligence.
mm-hmm.
So, but then I'm like, damn, Val like set him up. But
My question is going to be, considering it's Wakandan tech, how the freak did Val bug him? Because like that, it wasn't just like a
yeah,
that's more so what I'm looking at. Like that, if anything, like how is she bugging this? That was a bigger thing to me. Like him picking him up and learning how to do him. He was in Wakanda for a long time, and it didn't. As far as when he got hurt, and she was showing him a lot of different stuff while he was in there.
Mm-hmm.
So him knowing how to use the bees, that's a simple process. How Val bugged him and he didn't see it, considering he was an agent. I don't know. That's the part I didn't know.
it might be something that could possibly be brought back up. But it also
Possibly.
seemed like one of them details that's small, but if it blows up in a future movie and then they reference back to that, that would be dope.
Yeah,
What preacher talking about it exactly?
No, I'm just saying, like, for example, if we find out that later in like more Marvel content that Val has some intel to where she can hack into Wakanda technology,
Mm.
then it could possibly reference back to that. But I mean, who knows?
yeah,
So that'll be cool.
to be determined. But it's interesting because a lot of vibranium is like outside of Wakanda now. When you really think about it, at first it was just everything there, and then Cap Shield. Now we got um Falcon suit. We got the Talokians have access to vibranium, which I thought was real cool because um Namor was already super strong by himself, but I think him having the Wakandan, I mean the vibranium, armor and everything. I thought that was a really cool touch, and then of course he had the spear, which helped him. And I remember I saw a tweet where I believe that Ryan Coogler said it. He said Namor was probably as strong as Hulk and Thor or something to that effect. And I think it was a reference. I think M'Baku said that. Like,
Yeah.
so I thought that was dope. A nice callback. And then we see him in action, and I'm not gonna lie, when I see him like fighting and stuff, I could see it, especially if he has a weakness. Thor and Hulk, not the same type of weaknesses he does, but if he's around water, I can see it. And another thing that really got me excited, he's a mutant. Like
Yeah.
it was blatantly said. And I know in the comics, he's the first mutant. Like mechanically, he's the first mutant. And then of course we see in this movie, with his backstory, he's older than he looks, so he may be the first mutant here. But with his backstory, like, how did you guys feel about that, and what did it like? How it fleshed out his character? How did that like go for you guys?
I liked it. It wasn't. I don't. It was fleshed out. It was fleshed out well. Just the storytelling that he's giving to Shuri, and kind of like you said, it was like, so why are you telling me? And it was more so for her to understand him and where he's coming from in his actions and what he's going to ask of her, because he knew it was going to be the ask is going. It wasn't just a small ask. It's something pretty huge.
Yeah.
Also, I know why James Cameron is so mad now.
Why? Because they took his. How did y'all feel about the underwater
movie? This entire movie, everything, the blue people.
This was Avatar: Way of the Water.
They went back to Titanic with the boat at the end and it falling over it. Hey, I know why James Cameron mad, but hey, sucker, get over it.
That's actually funny.
Underwater scene was fire. Like, just seeing like Shuri swimming around in a different world and just us getting those visuals, like, I thought it was beautiful. Then they had their own little sign. I was just like, oh, I want to Shuri to do little Wakanda and her robot when they was doing theirs, like Dragon Ball Z. Did it remind y'all of that when Goku did it? Really
a command yeah, that's what
I was just trying to think if you thought that.
I don't know. As far as with Shuri throwing up the Wakanda in that suit that made her look like she was.
Yeah, that would have been kind of wild because the arms look too big. But like, I just thought like this, it was just so wholesome, which is why, Chris, I understand when you were saying he seems like an anti-hero.
Yeah.
At this scene right here, and just his people, like, he loves his people. He wants to make sure his people are safe, which is why when one of them was killed later in the movie, I was just like, oh yeah, he's not gonna let that go. But this scene, I thought this scene was pretty cool.
Yeah. I didn't get the Kamehameha until Jazz said it. I ain't even for it. And I love Dragon Ball Z. Nah, I thought it was just a cool, silly thing.
But I also was interested in how they would do the underwater. I'm definitely going to try to look up some scenes and how they filmed this, like, because that was just dope in itself. But also just they changed it from Atlantis, because technically it would have been Atlantis, and they wanted to make sure they differentiated it. Is that the right word?
Differentiate, yeah, you got it.
Differentiate from DC and make it something different, make it complete. But it was this movie was beautifully shot, just from I mean, just all the visuals from the people, the different cultures we've seen in this movie. It was crazy and just amazing to see white people still trying to steal them. Okay, but yeah.
Wow.
That scene where he rode up trying to bury his mama and saw his people in chains, and then it switched to his people burning down that slave house. I said, thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't even. Yeah, I like Namor after that. Yeah, I like this character, honestly. But then, of course, the star of the show, we see Lupita, Nakia.
She wasn't. But I'm gonna look. But look, I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna be real respectful in what I'm saying. But I ain't never looked at her like I looked at her this time. But I was definitely looking at her. I was definitely looking. I was like,
I've been saying this for how long? Listen, man.
You have. I was just like, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, trust me, man.
I see it, but
I be knowing.
A whole bunch of beautiful black women in this movie, man.
But, yeah, but sometimes certain ones stand out. But
I ain't gonna say nothing like that. But you know what I'm saying. Shout out to the black women.
Shout out to them, yeah. But especially shout out to Lupita. But jokes aside, we see Nakia. She's back, and she's been gone 6 years, like the whole time. She didn't even show up to the funeral, which I thought was interesting. And also, at the same time, I'm surprised, but at the same time, I'm not. So, like, we didn't get any outside characters at T'Challa's funeral. And it's understandable because Wakanda, they're very, private. They don't they're very strict with their culture. So ideally, you would see someone like maybe the Winter Soldier there because he spent so much time there. But then at the same time, no, because like he's not part of their culture. They had their whole thing. But I didn't even realize, Nakia wasn't there. It didn't really register until they go to Haiti and find her. And I'm just like, she wasn't there. What was going to be her reason and why? And her reason, it wasn't really a good reason. We see why she really wasn't there later, but to me, her reason for not showing up at the funeral, I was just like, yeah, something else is going on.
Were you disappointed?
That she wasn't at the funeral?
Mm-hmm.
No, as long as I got to see her later, it's cool.
I mean, I knew. So I was looking for her when I was looking at the because they were very clear in making sure you see who was there.
Yeah.
So I knew she wasn't there. And I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, everybody handles grief differently, right?
Yeah.
So her reasoning is her reasoning. I can't be mad at her for what that was. Like she said, I don't know if she said it here, but considering how we handling this, she said T'Challa was her everything. So how her dealing with it versus us dealing with it, or being on the outside dealing with it from a mother, a sister, a best friend, a lover, is it's a completely different loss. So, however she wants to handle it, we can look at it and judge it all we want, but that's how she wanted to handle it.
I want to go back to what Chris mentioned, and it didn't even cross my mind as I was watching this scene. When you mentioned Winter Soldier, like Sam, like none of them were there. Wasn't it T'Challa and Siri and somebody else at Tony's funeral?
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like there's 3 of them.
Okoye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
was the Queen there? No, she
No,
wasn't there. She
no,
wasn't.
it was everybody who got snapped and who was in that final battle. But that's a completely different thing because T'Challa was at home when he passed. Tony was public, and everybody was,
The world was involved pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, everybody, like, so,
Sam and Bucky couldn't show up.
No, because they're not allowed in. Not allowed in Wakanda. That's not their people. It's different. So
I'll say this: I can understand them not being there, but then I can also see the side of like, why y'all not there? You see what I'm saying? So I don't.
Why?
I mean,
when were they cool? I guess that's what
y'all were on. Y'all fought in a battle to save the world. Like, I mean, that seems. Yeah, you could show up to the funeral. I mean,
and not even that. Like, remember in Falcon and Winter Soldier, Bucky and
was there for how
Okoye,
long?
yeah, he was there for a minute, but even in the show, Bucky and Okoye have, they have, some history there. Like they have familiarity.
Okoye went on
the other one was there. I don't know her name, but there's still, familiarity there. And then Falcon has a vibranium suit. Like they gave him a whole vibranium suit. Bucky has a whole customized vibranium arm. So it's just kind of like, yeah, we know y'all. Like we cool. Like,
when you lay it out like that,
yeah,
they should have been there.
But it's African tradition though. It's not. They're not. I mean, Wakandan tradition. It's not a. I'm not. I'm going to see it differently, and I'm not trying to make y'all see it the way I see it. But I don't. In that, if it wasn't people that was in there that was raised in Wakanda, you ain't coming in here.
Yeah, that's why I say I can see both ways. Yeah.
He only T'Challa only opened it up to allow salvation for them from what was actually happening when Thanos was coming. There was no other reason for him to open that up for them. So I didn't see that happen. I didn't see them. I definitely didn't see Queen opening it up for nobody because they wanted to keep it closed. T'Challa chose to open it up.
So is it in poor taste to say T'Challa that was a misstep? Like he messed up?
It's not.
Would you go?
It was too noble.
Yeah. Would you go as far to say Killmonger was right?
I said Killmonger right. His intentions was wrong.
I thought his intentions
right. His execution was wrong.
Right, his actions was wrong.
Yeah. Okay. What was you about to say, Jazz?
No, I was gonna say his intentions. He had a solid motive. It's just his execution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was way off. Yeah.
I mean, Thanos was right. His execution was wrong.
Thanos was completely wrong. Thanos was just all you do is he could snap more food. He didn't have to snap the people. Like he could have just snapped more resources. But
I mean, I get it, but I get it though. If you bring more resources, it's just gonna keep. It's a cycle at that point. It's just gonna keep on happening. More people are just.
I think getting rid of half would put the other half in more appreciation. So you're not going to have more appreciation.
That was Thanos' thought, but I mean, you missed the people because it wasn't. It was. You should have. If he was gonna snap people, should have snapped whole families. He was snapping.
Yeah, he was like
2/3 of the family.
He should have been more selective with his snap. Like, all right, let me go over here and snap them.
I'm gonna leave the kids, but the mom and dad, they gotta get them.
Yeah, y'all go. Hope you can cook. You learned how to run your bath water yet? You gonna learn
like any of that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Since we talking about the funeral and everything, I want touching on the bigger, not bigger than I guess emotional impact scenes. When we were talking about when Okoye got back to Wakanda, and the queen, she stripped her of her titles that she was having. What did y'all think about it? How did y'all feel about this scene here, and in the queen's actions?
I thought it was rash, but understandable because of the situation that was going on. She just lost her son, her husband, the king, also is gone, and her country is vulnerable. Like you had, Namor, he's a huge threat because not only is he a mutant and he has powers that they aren't accustomed to. It's not like tech. It's like this dude got wings on his ankles and he's super strong, but he bypassed their security. So they as the queen, she doesn't really know what's going on. In a personal level, she lost her family, and Shuri was really the only one left, and she didn't want her to go out into the field in the first place. So for that to happen, she feels like I've lost pretty much everything. It was out of emotion, and I think I'm not gonna go as far as to say it was justified, but it was definitely understandable why she did at that point.
Yeah, Chris, I completely agree with everything you said. It was. I miss seeing Angela Bassett in these type of roles.
Yeah, she killed it.
Like she killed this role so much. Like I miss that, and I was like, yep, nothing you can do. Nothing you can say, because like you said, Chris, I completely understood her reaction to everything. Like you going off so many emotions, and the last thing that you had, that you felt like you had, now is gone. Yeah. So it was, Queen Angela did a great job.
She did a fantastic job.
Jason, what you think? You think she should have?
Right now I'm dealing with emotional people, so no, I don't agree with anything that she did there. But so with listening to it, I like I said, just her performance, amazing. Like I said, just based off this scene, I don't know how many scenes they have to receive a supporting Oscar nom, but she delivered it. Like all her scenes in this movie, like she was delivering them. And she said, you can go and visit your husband at any time. I can't mind with the ancestors. You know what I'm saying? When my son lost his crown, you took up for who the king was while I was down with the Jabari trying to take care of my son. Mm-hmm. Like your loyalties haven't been in line, but in that same situation, I feel like that's I don't know. She was looking for friend. I mean, it's like she was looking for a friendship in a system that is being built to hold up the foundation. Mm-hmm. So that's why I don't agree with the queen. If we have a system set in place to protect or to keep certain things in order to keep this running, I have to do what's right by this. So I'm not going to, they don't call it bending the knee, but this is what I vow to do for for this country, for my country. I fought for this country. I've laid things down. I've done X, Y, and Z, and this the thanks I get because a situation went awry. Like I understand. Like we all have lost. Like T'Challa was your son, so it's a completely different loss for me. But I'm mourning, grieving the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. The situation with Shuri. I mean, we knew kind of what the threat was, but we didn't really understand what the threat was, and it happened. I don't know, like I said, but then it's like she started figuring stuff out. I don't think she was ever even in a position to ever even apologize before she passed on. Like it was just that's how that will not forever be played on, but how that ended for her.
Yeah.
And I feel like that started her on that journey of new. I mean, accepting new, because up until that point, it was always about tradition for her until she no longer had it. It was taken. It was stripped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, the different plot points was cool. One thing I didn't notice during the movie, which is probably a testament to how good the film was, but Black Panther, like no one was suited up until like the third act of the film. And right. I just, I caught that and I was just like, wow, this is a very personal movie. And in the same vein as Hereditary, Jason, where we saw Charlie's death, how that lingered throughout the whole, plot of the film. And pretty much it was like a shadow over every event. It's the same thing with T'Challa, his death. Everything is just that's what everyone is thinking about. It's not really so much the Black Panther, you know what I mean? It's just like how we're dealing with this and all these different changes because of what happened. So, but I thought it was cool when we finally get Shuri suited up. What did y'all think about that whole sequence? Of course, he recreated the heart-shaped herb and she goes to the ancestral plane. What you guys think about the ancestor that she encountered?
I was ready. I was waiting for that. But I'm gonna let you get it, Jay.
So did you know he was gonna be in a movie?
No
it was rumored. It was rumored. It was rumored. So I was because of the way the seat was sitting, I expected it to be Killmonger when she went around it, and just based on, just based on what led up to her actually trying to take it, because remember she was she was kind of rejecting tradition because her mom, when they were talking about grieving, she was saying, hey, we can, this is how we do it. Like, we don't need tradition. We need new suits. We need new this. We need new that. Because, when she was like, nah, put out there, leave everything. Stop. Strip everything down. Let's just go outside and deal with the wilderness. So when she went inside of there, and that scene, like, it's okay. So I like Michael B. Jordan, but it's not saying he didn't deliver it, but it's like the feeling I felt when Angela spoke. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get that when Killmonger spoke. Like the scene was impactful, but it wasn't as impactful as I felt it should have been. I don't know.
It's like a different delivery. You mean like Angela? You felt the emotion in what she was saying as opposed to Killmonger. Okay, I mean it's Angela Bassett, so I get it.
I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like
it was just missing that
it was like pretty much. Yeah, I can't even explain it.
I don't know what y'all was missing, but I didn't miss nothing. Like, this scene caught me off guard. I wasn't sure if he was going to be in it. I did not think he was going to be in that chair. Soon as they panned around, everybody in my theater clapped. I was like, damn, he looked good with them locks.
Yeah, that was cool. That was interesting. He had the dreads.
And they were longer.
Yeah, they was real long.
You Asian over here? Like, lock gang going good, but I'm glad that they did it. But I was like, look, yeah, I was lusting during the scene, but I was also trying to pay attention to what he was saying, because he was never a villain to me to where, like I said to y'all before, I agree with his cause, and I hate that he's dead, but I love that that series saw him, because with her losing her mother and then her brother a year earlier, you've lost so much. And just to come into that room when she saw the queen face down in that water, like vengeance, and then with Namor just smiling, I was like, yeah, you gotta kill him. Like, he has to die today. Like, get him out of here. So, but I was curious. I was just like, okay, she's not gonna obviously fully kill him because something spiritual is gonna come into her and tell her, be like, no, vengeance isn't the answer. Like what happens to Bruce all the time. No, Bruce, vengeance isn't the answer. So I was like, Siri gonna do it the same thing. Yes, Bruce Wayne, because vengeance. Yeah. So
she's a baby Bruce Wayne at this point.
You think so?
Yeah, she ain't got no mama, no daddy. Yeah, they got killed.
Be a few of them. That could be Tony. I mean, Tony Stark is
Tony dead. We can't talk about Tony no more.
He loves saying Tony dead, boy. What is it?
I'm gonna forever say it. All of them, but like that's kind of messed up. They don't never let these people have families. Everybody, they be getting wiped out. Like,
look, when I was like, okay, you can't kill the queen. You like, nah. And then when she was just like, she's gone. That was the second time I cried during this film. I said, you know what? Y'all can go to hell. I was so upset. I was like, y'all got me in here crying in the movie theater twice. And it came to be a total of 3 times.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was definitely, I cried. I ain't full out cry, but I was sad at the beginning with the opening scene and then the title card. But this scene too, when the queen died, I was like, they did not just kill the queen.
Did you have a snot booger?
No, I just had like that's deep right there. Like, is this what you think of me? No.
It was so many people in my theater sniffling. I was like,
heard that, yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, I heard a lot of I definitely heard that. You're like, oh man, no, but it was cool. But yeah, we got 2. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
So Killmonger in the room, he was saying, if you're gonna be, are you gonna be? So your brother was, he was saying, everybody, because he basically addressed her because she was like, oh, he thought you were gonna see somebody else, and he was like, what's really on your mind? Because you would have seen somebody else, but your heart is in a different place. So what which it went back to that situation, with the scene with M'Baku at the actual funeral, and I was gonna ask y'all, what did y'all think about M'Baku in this movie? Because he got prior to, they say he got a big promotion, big raise, a big advance, and I was just like, man, he gonna be the Black Panther. That's what I was thinking. It's like at the end, I thought he was she was gonna be like, nah, I'm gonna focus on this. I'm gonna pass this off to you. That's what I thought was gonna happen. But what did y'all think about him? Because I feel like every scene he was in was like
funny. Like, I love every scene he was in. His character stood out a lot because when he said, "You bald-headed devil," I was like, "Yo, you wow." She got a lot of bald-headed jokes. They got a lot of jokes on her this movie. But I really enjoyed his character, and I also enjoyed the scenes where he was not so comedic but being serious. Mm-hmm. He was like, I told your brother that I would be counsel to you. I would protect you, make sure you're good. And he was right there by her side when she said, all right, so you need to be here tomorrow morning. He wasn't late. He was there early.
Yeah.
For the battle. So like
that was hard. That was hard. That was one. I think that was one of like the scenes that may have got y'all didn't get me, but like, well, from what y'all just said, those didn't. But this scene, well, when the mom passed and he was speaking with her, he was saying, the elders, they want to come to the Jabari. They want to set up camp in the Jabari people just to watch out for Namor and the Telokans to make sure that that they're okay. She was like, that's perfectly fine. He was like, cool, but what do you want to do? Like, what's in your heart? And she was like, everything in my heart is buried with my mama right now. And then he goes back to the end when she finally did the heart-shaped herb, and she was pissed off that she, what she was trying to go see, she was trying to see her mama again, but she went to go see Killmonger. And then she got dropped down into where the Jabari people were, and she was talking to him, and she pretty much told him like, you gonna ride with me and you gonna be there. Like, it was like it don't. I don't care what you thinking about or what you thought you wanted to do. This what you doing, and we riding it done, Craig. Like, and he was just like, bro, hold on, like, but I can't do nothing because he know she got it in her now, so he can't take her. But
Yeah. How did y'all feel about this scene of when they came and attacked the city? Like with the water scenes and the battles and like all of that. Did y'all enjoy that scene?
I did because it showed how much of a threat they were, and I think that just because you saw some of the Wakandas, they got some licks in, but for the most part, the Talokians they just show how strong they was, and I thought it was shot really well too, and it was like a larger scale action sequence. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like a chase or like they
Right.
beat up people. So I thought it was dope.
Namor was
yeah,
so fast. Like
So
I
yeah,
did
he was
not
putting
think
in
he was
work.
in the air just going crazy. I was just like, how y'all supposed to kill this mutant? Cause he his speed, like it was
Yeah, he was a lot. I gotta say, Neymar was my favorite part of the movie. As far as like a character, and everything with him. I thought it was done really well. Just as a new character, and then it was like he's such an iconic Marvel character as far as like in the comics and everything. So to see him done well, in their own way, I thought that was super cool. So I liked it.
I was just like
mm-hmm.
he destroyed the city in a matter of minutes. I was just like, imagine you just going you coloring, enjoying some Wakanda sun, and then you hear a big old wave heading your way. Like,
What do you even do?
man, I felt so bad for all the people in the city. Because then they had to leave and they went north. It looked
Where it's
cold up there.
cold. Yep. Nah, but shout out M'Baku. I'm glad he wasn't Black Panther. I don't think it would have fit this movie at all. I think it was like the way they did it with Shuri and having her story. What did y'all think about Shuri or Letitia Wright being the lead in this film? How do you guys think she did? Because I wasn't too sure. I don't think I've seen her character as a lead in a film. I've seen it in Black Mirror episode, but um, well, actually, even in the Black Mirror episode, that was like an anthology episode, wasn't it? It was just like
Yeah,
going
it was
all
different
around.
stories.
Yeah, so I was curious about how that would work out. And personally I liked it. What do you guys think about her performance and like just carrying the film?
I enjoy her performance, but I don't. It's like it was a balanced before. I mean, it was a balanced screen time. You know what I'm saying? Like we have
Hmm.
the queen, because the queen was. I feel like she was mainly in the beginning. You had
Yeah.
her quick scenes with her, then it passed over to Okoye, and then pretty much in the final acts of the actual movie, then it kind of shifted to Shuri, um, in there. So I enjoyed her in the actual role. It'll be dope to actually see the movie centered around her. I feel like this one was still centered around Chadwick, T'Challa, passing it, grieving, and all of that. So a movie that's just actually centered around Shuri, I think that would actually be dope to see.
Not
Yeah,
mad at
I definitely enjoyed her character. Um, her performance in this shocked me because I was just like, okay, like it seemed so believable. But then I also feel like what they were going through as they were filming this,
Yeah.
I'm sure all these feelings and emotions were organic, like they were, true. So like I think her performance was good. Just her having like flashbacks of bringing up Chadwick's character, you saw the emotions in her face and her performance and her interactions. So I enjoyed it. I didn't have any kind of issues with it being more her than anybody else. But Jason, I definitely see what you're saying when you were saying like the balance. But we got to see more of her. And then with her just getting hit with so much loss. Like, is there any other character that had this much loss in one film? I know like Peter Parker dealt with loss like back to back films,
I was
but
gonna
like
say Peter
somebody that had
or
like
Thor.
like two major losses in one film.
Yeah, Thor lost. He lost his mom, and no, what was the other one? He lost
Because his dad died in Thor 3 and his mom died in Thor 2.
Infinity
But
War. I was thinking of Infinity War. He lost Loki. He lost his brother, and he lost his best friend. Then he lost half his people. That's the only one I could think of that was close.
That wasn't Infinity War.
Okay, Jason.
No,
It was.
yes,
It was in Ragnarok. He lost his sister killed everybody. His dad died. Yeah, she killed all his best friends.
no.
Wait.
He's saying like in Infinity War, he lost Loki and he lost his best friend right in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Loki. Are you saying Loki? And who was the other best friend?
He just
And
said Loki.
Idris, that was his best friend.
Oh,
Idris was in all three films.
You said he wasn't?
no,
See, this is what happens when you skip phase one. Just, he
That
was
was
definitely that was his best friend. Yeah.
bro. He wasn't even like Sif. What about all them people that got killed
Sif is a
when
love
Hela
interest.
when Hela was killing all these people? Like she literally killed all his friends,
but
and
but
then
he
he got
did
killed.
say that his best friend got killed.
He's his best friend.
Words.
Jason didn't watch. He didn't watch phase one. That's his best friend.
Bro.
It was his best friend. It's okay though.
But
It is what it is. What it is. Like, and he still, these niggas still be talking. Right now, I don't count that as a loss, man. These niggas still be talking. He be talking, man. Nah, bro. He probably be
I
touching.
only can go off Thor words. He said my brother and my best friend got killed. He told that to the Guardians. So
And then he lost half the people at the end when he got snapped. He lost a lot. Thor lost the most. Thor and Peter lost the most out of everybody.
but you got to throw Siri in there. Actually, Siri and Wanda.
Who's
Even though
Siri?
you think,
Oh,
even though
Shuri.
you
I'm
think
sorry. I was so
Shuri.
confused for a second.
No, she's saying Siri. Shuri.
Shuri,
Yeah.
excuse me, Shuri and Wanda, they lost a lot. Even though you might not consider Vision important, he was to Wanda
Wanda lost her brother in Vision, right?
and her kids.
I mean, hey, sure. Oh, yeah,
Everybody just loses everybody.
sure. It's a circle of life, right? Nah, but yeah, I thought it was well done. The ending, we got the final battle, which I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see how they were gonna beat Namor. And I thought it was well done how they did it, but they're smart. So of course, in the lab, Riri and Shuri, and I really like this dynamic that they had because they're both super smart, and they used that together because they couldn't beat him physically, so they were just like, let's use our brains, and they figured out his weakness. But the final battle between Shuri and Namor, and then also the Talokians, and they were fighting the Wakanda people. Oh, before we get to that, what y'all think about those suits that that Shuri made for Okoyo and the other woman? I can't remember her name. What y'all think about those suits?
They was all right.
I like them.
Them suits are ugly.
I wasn't sure if they were like in the comic or whatnot. I'm not familiar with that lore. If it's important or not.
I think whatever they would call the Midnight something. I think that's supposed to be a thing in the comics, but I don't know about the suits.
Midnight Angel.
Something like that. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
supposed to be a thing in the comics, but them suits was ugly. I was just like, I was kind of like, okay, but it was cool with action. And they needed it. But the final battle we saw Shuri and Namor, and then of course the Talokians and the Wakandas fighting. What you guys think about this final action sequence? Like, how did that hit for you guys?
I was just like, it's risky to be out on their turf because they live in the water. So
Yeah.
if you were on this huge ship and if they got stuff that can make like things blow up, they could easily kill you, as we saw when a lot of their soldiers got into the water. You just, you bait, they could just kill you immediately.
Yeah.
So I was just, that's risky, but their main goal was to get Namor. So, and just distract him and get him into that ship, and for Shuri to try to kill him.
Yeah. Jason, what do you think?
I liked it. I liked it from the diversion that they used to get them out there, to lure them out of the actual water. And Namora, she seemed like she didn't really get into it, but they definitely beat the Wakandans in the fight. They definitely beat them. I know Namor, he was like, I have more soldiers than you have grass. Y'all need to leave, but y'all need to dude. I was like, oh yeah, he not playing. He not playing.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. But then, of course, her fight scene at the end, she got stabbed, sort of the same way that Tony got stabbed against Thanos, and she finally saw her mom in the ancestral plane, and that was just sort of flip the switch there because she really wanted to kill Namor, but right before she did, she saw her mom and sort of granted mercy, which I thought was cool, only for the simple fact that I don't I think certain characters, especially villains, there's more that they can do with them. So I'm glad they didn't kill them off because they've killed off a lot of villains in these Marvel movies at times where you feel like maybe they will not necessarily say come back, but it just sort of cheapens it a bit when they get killed off. Like who was one that got killed off? I can't think of it, but someone got killed off and I'm just kind of like I feel the dude from the first Black Panther, white guy, what's his name?
Oh, you
Claw, Ulysses Claw. He got killed off, and I was kind of like,
What was he gonna do, Chris? He was a human.
well, no. So the thing, so I'm going comic kind of in a sense,
That's
so
good.
it's different. But like we saw his vibranium. He had the hand and everything. He's a big deal. He's sort of close to. He's close to like T'Challa's Joker. Like that's his his guy. So it was interesting to see his main villain, which had set up in Ultron, get killed off. So I was glad that. Why are you laughing like that? Because I said Joker.
I love how y'all I love the base of all y'all conversations be around Bruce. But
No,
y'all be talking.
it was around Joker. Yeah, we're not talking about Batman. But I
You,
mean,
there's no Joker without who?
no, there was a Joker movie without Batman. It
That's
came
not what
out,
I there. No,
made
no,
$1 billion.
no.
Joaquin Phoenix is in it.
Who's
They're
who's
making a
who's
sequel.
this, who is this centered around, Chris? Based on characters from what comic book?
DC Comics. I didn't see the movie, but
Look at this guy
I
here,
you
man.
didn't
This
see
guy here.
didn't see the Joker. I'm sick of the Joker. We didn't got like 5 Jokers in like 10 years. I'm good over it. No, but yeah, Ulysses Claw is a very important character. So they killed him off. I was kind of like, where are they going with this? And then Killmonger gets killed off. And then we get Namor. I didn't expect him to get killed because he was so strong. I didn't see how they would, but just the fact that he was spared and we get more potential story, which I think will come up because we saw at the end when the other his other, one of his generals,
More.
that's her name. Yeah, she was kind of like, "Yo, what's good? Like, why we, why when you finish them off or whatever." So I think there'll be some conflict in the future. I hope he doesn't get a movie because I feel like they just handing it out like candy nowadays. So,
why
Who?
you
but
trying to block his blessings.
Namor?
yeah, I'm good on a Namor movie unless it leads up to something else. And by something else, I mean Doctor Doom.
It might be lit.
Yeah, because that's a big storyline of Three Kings, the War of the Three Kings, with
What's
Doom Namor. So it's basically Doom versus Namor versus T'Challa. Wakanda versus Atlantia versus Lateria, which is Doom's place. So that's a big thing. If they do that, I'm with it. But Namor, he can go, just be
If
a
they don't
side
kill
character.
Chris, he got to come back. What else he gonna? I
I
mean,
don't.
he was
I'm just saying. I don't feel like he should have his own movie. That's all I'm saying. Like we didn't give out. We
he
can't
just
give
want.
everybody movies and shows. Like, come on,
Why not?
we get Agatha's enough. Like, let's chill.
I knew
I,
you was gonna drop her name.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, as long as you know.
He just said Namor is his favorite part of the movie, but he don't deserve a movie.
Well, yeah,
He
in
just
the context of the movie, he was great, but as his own, I'm good. He's more so like a strong supporting character, not really a lead, in my opinion.
Oh, so he a good number two.
Yeah,
So
he
he
was a
could.
good number. He was a good number one in this movie, right?
no,
He was.
he was the villain. What are you talking about? He didn't
That,
carry the movie.
I mean, for you, he did. That's what you said.
No, I say he's my favorite part of the movie.
So there was that. So the favorite part ain't what carried them. So if it was just that one scene, that would have been that you would be like, oh man, the rest of it's trash. That's what you would have been like.
What? Why would he? What? No. Why, if he was in one scene, how would he be my favorite part of the movie?
Chris, I don't know. I'm
He wouldn't
asking
be
you.
fleshed. No, I said he was my favorite because of how he's fleshed out, and you know what I'm trying to say. You just trying
I
to.
don't know what you're trying to say. I'm
No,
trying to
he
understand.
didn't
If you give
carry.
it up, like I'm trying to like what does he mean? If that was
No,
your favorite part,
he was
why
my
would he
favorite
want
part
to
of the movie,
be
but
at
he
the part?
wasn't like the main character. Like he didn't
So
carry the movie. Sure,
so
he
what if
did,
he
if anything.
so what if he had a movie and it was about Doom trying to get to him. Like
That's what I
what
said. That's cool. Like if they set up like a war or something like that, it would be one too, but not just one. Nah, I'm good. He's not Peter or like Thor or
I
anything
know
like that.
he's a villain. We talking about the villain, not the heroes.
Mm.
Villains do need their own movie though. That might be cool.
Doom, if Doom
This
gets a
nigga,
movie, man,
this dude is looking for the Thunderbolts movie. These are nothing but villains.
Bucky's not a villain. Don't do
He literally
that.
killed King T'Chaka.
And Black Widow's not a villain.
He dead. What are you talking about?
Nah, you
I'm
talking about her
well,
sister,
yeah,
Lena.
not Black. Yeah, she's dead. I'm talking about the other.
Abomination is not a villain anymore.
Depends on who you ask the question.
Oh
And that what you said at the beginning.
man.
I mean, I guess I guess you could consider Suicide Squad a movie about villains.
Oh
It's
yeah, Suicide Squad are villains. Yeah, they're
they
definitely
in jail.
yeah, they're all villains. Yeah.
But
They have to go do a mission to get time off. That's what they going to do the mission for.
I mean, I guess like I think Joker is the only movie where you had the villain and you got their backstory.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's
So
why I said Doom would be
like
dope.
right. So I mean, you don't really have movies that's focused on the villain like that because you
Yeah,
just had it for Joker.
yeah,
Like Suicide Squad, which is a bunch of motherfuckers coming together
C-list.
trying to be heroes. But like
C-list.
Joker, he wasn't trying to be a hero. He was just being
How,
himself, but it was
how did
just
it become Joker?
the focal point.
yeah. Would you
So
would you argue Thanos was like that in Infinity War? Because that felt like his movie, in my opinion.
no, I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't say Infinity War was Thanos' movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it just felt like that to me. It was just pretty much
You,
his.
you, you said it often.
Yeah, I
That's the
mean,
first,
I stand on it.
that's the first time saying that one.
Yeah, I stand on that. But yeah, that was pretty much the ending, and then of course we get Shuri at the end. She finally embraces tradition in the sense that she's able to grieve. Yeah, she's able to grieve. The healthy way. This got me. This got me. Oh, I think I teared up 4 times because there was the scene where we saw all of her interactions with T'Challa from the first movie, and I was just like, wow, it was just dead silent. I don't think there was any music playing at this
Right.
point,
Yeah.
which
Whenever
was
they whenever they put him up, I don't think no music ever played.
yeah,
It's
The
just chat.
theater was so quiet.
yeah, which I thought was a great touch because it allowed you to really take in what's actually happening without the music distracting you or any dialogue. It was just, hey, So I thought that was dope. But I teared up then when that happened, and she just, she had to grieve it the healthy way. What was you about to say, Jess?
It was that scene was tough. And I
Yeah.
feel like one of those shots, I don't remember it being in the first film. So I think it may have been some video that we haven't seen of him
Oh,
just
okay.
straight and he had like the African colors around his shoulders and he was just smiling. Man, I was in the theater like, damn it, I just wiped my tears. I'll go again.
They're coming back.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was definitely well done. They might have added, something else just because I didn't notice it, but I'm sure it was. And then the end credit, well, the mid credit, excuse me, scene. What'd you guys think of this?
Pete over here hiding the kid.
Yeah, she hiding the sun.
She
I
was in
was
break too much.
That's a good reason.
I,
Nakia had a good reason for doing what she did.
um so it was rumored, in the movie I thought that was her having the I thought it was gonna be about her being
Right.
pregnant,
Yeah.
you know, water, but then it made sense, that was actually Namor being born in the movie, getting his backstory. So Nakia, having the kid, they held that until the end. It was dope how they did that. It didn't feel forced. I really enjoyed it.
What'd you guys think of him being named T'Challa?
That's gonna probably be that's going to be the smoothest way to make that happen, and it'll make sense. And because um in the direction that we're going, they could. I mean, I mean, so I'm conflicted in the person wearing the Black Panther. I don't, because of how T'Challa, based on what Nakia said, he may not even be in that lifestyle at all. Um, but it would be interesting to see if he is pushed into that direction as he gets older. And I
Mhm.
have a way of how I think that would make sense, but I'm gonna let Jazz touch on it before I keep going because I'm gonna go crazy.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go
No,
crazy.
yeah, go ahead. I got that's it. My thoughts not gonna leave me. You go ahead.
Um, I thought this scene was it caught me off guard because when they went back to her on the beach, because normally anytime you have a post credit, mid credit, it's a scene that is somewhere else. It
Mhm.
doesn't. It's not where you go back to where the scene when ended, where the credits came in. So
Mhm.
I was just like, okay, Shuri's still on the beach, and then we see them coming around. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I thought the little boy was so adorable. He reminded me of one of the kids from Abbott.
Oh, that's
So
cute.
adorable. But when he was just like, Mommy says you can keep secrets. And I was just like, what he about to say? And then when he said his name, I was just like, damn it.
I just wiped these. They're coming back.
Right.
Did you
I'm
get
just
any
like,
popcorn? Oh, you was good.
no. So wait, did you say that? Did I get any tears in my popcorn?
Yeah.
Chris, I couldn't tell you if I did or if I didn't.
Oh, man.
Maybe. I don't
Oh,
know.
well.
But there was tears flowing as popcorn was going in my mouth.
What a range of emotions, right? I'm hungry, but upset at the same time. Oh,
One hand is on
Jess.
the icy, another one is a handful of popcorn, and the tears are just coming down. I'm just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, this was just, I'm curious like where it's going to go like after this. But yeah.
It's the um, this is the end. So we about to have a new beginning, and it's a hell of a beginning. What did you think about this? The scene with young T'Challa, Chris?
I thought it was like it almost felt like it was left open for one or the other. So it could have been a closing of a chapter, whether they choose to continue, this is a trilogy. Um, it seems to be, you think it'd be four, maybe? Well, either way, whether they continue the story, they left it open for that to be a possibility with T'Challa's, his son. At the same time, it was also like it could have been the ending of it because
Mm-hmm.
Shuri finally gets to grieve. T'Challa lives on in a sense, through his own son, and it was just like closure for everything there. So I really liked it. I liked how they did it, and they gave themselves options, which I think was a
Right.
good thing. Whether they choose to continue or not, either way, they have something that they can build off of.
I agree.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing for him, like even if they choose to continue and he, ends up being the next Black Panther, how would that work? Because he's only like 6 or 7, right? Because Nakia was gone for 6 years, so he's got to be like 6 or so.
Mm-hmm. I have a
So
that was going into my not ledge, but going crazy. So I feel like with this being the first movie with Shuri, so they said, like you said, Chris, they can't end it here. Like they technically they could end it here, bring Shuri back for the next Avengers movie or whenever they want to bring her back to help or whatever, if they even choose to do so.
mhm.
But I also feel like they could do it where this is her movie number one, although this is Black Panther number two. This is her first movie, and at this point, they could do a trilogy series based on Shuri's character that leads into because there's still spaces open in phases. I think phase six is it just six that has spots open, or it's five as well?
6.
It's six. So I mean, there's another spot to get that Black Panther 3 movie if that's what they want to if that's what they choose to call it. Also, because we know where we're going with the incursions, there could be a situation or scenario where I feel like this is just nothing that I read or I seen. I feel like a lot of people are going to get crossed. A lot of things are going to get switched up. So people are going to be parts and people are going to be moved around. They're going to get stuck in places they're not supposed to be at anyway, just based on that. So I feel like at that point, that's how you bring T'Challa back and age him up in a way that makes sense. Hey, now we have this guy from this other universe who's now on Earth. Shuri is stuck, or she can't get over, or whatever. Like, well, I mean, there's just a way of doing that that would make sense. People like, oh shit, that's not. So this was the kid T'Challa, but there was a second one who came over here, and that's where they have all these different variants and these different people that are familiar to us, which was introduced in Doctor Strange. We got Universe 838. We have this version of this. This is this version of that, and that's how you introduce that, and it makes sense, and it's it's smooth in there. But that's just my idea. I would love to keep Shuri as the Black Panther, and she get her own trilogy movie. We need a woman lead that can get a movie that actually make sense, but that hits. And this one hit. This one hit.
I'm glad you brought up the woman lead because that's something that I noticed with this phase. They've been a central point in majority of these films. And we saw not just films but TV shows too. WandaVision, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, of course in Thor, Ragnarok. I mean, I'm sorry, not Ragnarok, Love and Thunder. We saw Jane, was a big part, Black Widow, and then we get this. So they're definitely setting that up, and then also the younger crew, like I don't know if they're going to be going Young Avengers or how they're going to do that, but they seem to be aging down the character, so that'd be dope to see. Yeah. What do you think, Jason?
As far as what Young Avengers is going to be, it's interesting. We do have some more character like Billy from WandaVision. He's a kid. Like he was like 10, 11 years old. So him being a Young Avengers, him being with the Young Avengers, that would be kind of hard to see because you have like someone like Hawkeye. Hawkeye is dealing with, she's in college. So she's of the age that it makes sense. And you have like young Isaiah. He's an adult. Billy and his brother, Billy and Tommy, they too young to deal with that. But we do see in Agatha, they've casted a new person, and he's an older actor. So it would make sense in them how they would incorporate them. What is it, Wiccan and Speed? That's their names, Wiccan and Speed.
Wiccan and Speed, yeah.
So it'll make sense how they do that. So it'll be interesting to see. Like so a lot of this, because we see how Scarlet Witch operates, we see these people are now crossing over into these different universes. We're about to see what this pocket dimension stuff is about. Whenever Ant-Man and Wasp, let me be respectful for this young woman. Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania, when that comes out, we'll see how the Kang thing works. So that's probably gonna introduce another level of stuff. Because like I said, right now we're dealing with this 636, right?
616.
616. So we're about to start being introduced to a lot of stuff that's probably gonna blow our minds.
Well, speaking of Ant-Man, I believe we only got one credit scene in this film, and Jez, I just want to make sure we saw the same movie. Did you see anything with Ant-Man or any characters from Ant-Man?
I didn't see anything ant related at all.
No, I didn't either. Okay, I was just making sure. Jason, did you at your showing? Did they show anything?
Let him drink.
Yeah,
actually, I did see it. I did see a trailer.
You saw it at the beginning, but
yeah, right. I did.
I know you want to try to use at the preview.
Ain't
no way, Chris. We not gonna have it.
Oh man, that's tough. So I just want to throw that out there. We made a little.
They kept this off and let's leave it with the Wakandans, man. They weren't trying to mess with me at all.
Yeah, nah. We made a little wager early on. I could check that episode out in one of the. I believe that was one of the She-Hulk episodes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, just wanted to point that out.
Let's let them know what was the bet, Chris.
Oh, wasn't it a movie?
It was a movie.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. I don't recall.
It's okay.
I don't recall.
I recall what the bet was. Basically, the bet was that the Black Panther Wakanda Forever would not have an end credit that included anything from the Ant-Man films. Jason said that it would. Me and Chris said that it would not. What was our bet? We bet movies, people. That's what we do. If I lost, which include Jason winning, I would have to watch bum ass Shazam. And if Chris lost because me and Chris, we basically bet on the same thing. Chris would have to watch. What was your movie, Chris? It was Texas Chainsaw, that bum ass movie that dropped last year. Since me and Chris won, we don't have to watch either one of those terrible ass movies. But Jason, oh, my brother Jason, my co-host Jason, yes, brother, you lost. So, do you remember which movie that you had to see?
There was no movie in there. I'm the only one that spoke. If you go back and review.
No, I believe Chris. Was it the Pirates? I believe
there was no. Y'all didn't say anything. Only I spoke. There was nothing else. There was nothing. You go back to the episode, and it wasn't in. I don't think it was. I think it was in
D23 episode.
I think it was in D23.
It was one of them. I just know you lost. I don't know what it was, but I know you took that L.
Yeah, I didn't win. I definitely didn't win.
I was smiling watching them credits in.
Chris sitting there rooting. Don't show me nothing else.
Yeah, I want to see Kane. Watch yourself. Nah, but yeah, Jason lost. Just wanted to point that out. Thank you. Was it good though? That's why we here. Jazz, you got something else to say? What's up?
Yes. Which movie? You need to watch Pirates of the Caribbean. That's your movie. Like, we're not letting him get off on this. Jason owes us like 10 videos that he has not dropped.
Oh, I wasn't expecting them videos. So them videos is detox. I knew that wouldn't go.
Jason, Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one. You gotta watch that. You lost. That's the movie you gotta watch. Chris don't care, but I do, because I had to watch that bum ass Lighthouse. So you need to watch.
He didn't even finish the movie.
Man, it was bad, Jason.
They don't. No. Hold on. Wait. No, you need to finish that movie.
All right.
You need to finish that movie.
Okay.
I will watch the Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm a man of my word. Even though it wasn't my word, but I'll watch it. I can stand on that. I can do it.
Okay. All right. Chris, back to you.
Well, Paris it is. Was it good though? I think that goes without saying. But for the sake of the podcast name, I'll ask the question just to make sure. Jazz, was it good though?
Yes. I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the script. I enjoyed the visuals. I wasn't trying to be in the theater crying, but I was. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. So it was.
Jason, was it good?
I was thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I was going to ask y'all a question about favorites, but I ain't gonna do that. No, I'm gonna let y'all. I'm gonna let y'all. Let y'all sit with it. I'm gonna let y'all sit with it.
No, just because I'm gonna say it's good, so we can just go to the favorites. Jason, what's your question?
We're not doing favorites, Chris.
You talking about favorites for Marvel, or what you talking about?
He's talking about favorite between the first and second film. We're not.
I'm gonna let this sizzle me out spirit while we sit here today. But I am going to ask: is this not the best sequel to a Marvel film?
No, it's not.
What's your favorite?
The Winter Soldier exists. Can we leave?
That is my only argument. I made a post and I said probably. I need to watch that again, and I need to watch this again. Winter Soldier has some of the best fighting, but as far as emotional impact and acting, that movie does not touch in this movie acting.
Just go back and watch it. It was emotional.
It's in my top 5.
Yeah, it was emotional. And I'm not gonna jump too far out because I've only seen this once and we just saw it, so we're on a high.
What was emotional? What was the emotional call in that movie when Sam almost got killed? That was your emotional impact?
No, Bucky and Cap's whole relationship.
His
best friend who he thought was dead and he thought he was the only one alive, and he ends up seeing his best friend.
I've never enjoyed that. Like, that's one of the most overrated relationships in the MCU outside of when he kissed that girl in the third movie. Like,
Sharon Carter,
both of them relationships are the most overrated. This whole Louis Delac and Lestat relationship they got going on, man. You will catch that. You will catch that one day.
So the fact that that's a crazy thing. So the fact that, like, I can't hear Jazz at all. She's just I don't know what she's just saying.
Jason, why did you do that? Like, why? Why did you bring
lying, Jazz?
and
Jazz, am I
Lestat
lying?
into this?
Jazz, you just watched the original movie. Am I lying? I'm just saying. So you said so. So Chris. So okay, go Chris. Winter Soldier. Like I said, this is like okay. So Phase 4 movie. We can agree this is the best one in Phase 4, right?
No.
Ooh, you still got Shang-Chi. You still got Shang-Chi.
No, I just said. Well, yeah, Spider-Man too, but I'm just not gonna like jump out there yet. It just came out. That's
What
what
you
I
mean
just
you
said.
can't go jump out there? Why you can't jump out there?
I'm not gonna just straight up say this is the best
How
Phase
much?
4 movie.
How much time do you need, Chris?
Give me like at least like 2 more viewings. Like it was good, but come on, like we had some like
Bro,
that's just real. That's just real. Like no,
I guess with me, I'm one of those people like because I do this with y'all. This is the only reason I rewatch stuff. I typically watch it once and I'm done with it. I never pick it up again. That's why I don't buy DVDs, any of that, because it's not whenever I felt, my feelings never change. Even if I go back and watch it again, it's the same exact feeling when it comes to it. So me, this movie is in my top 5. Hands down, it's in my top 5. That's
this
overall,
is your top 5 Marvel movies all time.
Overall, Phase 4, this is beating Spider-Man. Spider-Man only had the last hour of Spider-Man probably is perfect, but this movie here, from beginning to end, it hit for me. That's like I said, that's for me. And Spider-Man is my favorite hero in Marvel. But as far as number 2 movies, I feel like this is the best. It's probably I need to watch Winter Soldier again because that movie, again, that movie there, that's definitely it was in my top 5. So
I'm still stuck on you saying Bucky and Cap's relationship is overrated, but that's okay.
It's super over. It's annoying. Like I ain't never had no best friend like that, bro. These niggas been crying over each other for 100 years. This nigga done been brainwashed. Nigga done died. This nigga done been brought back to life through ice. This nigga done he didn't even care about Peggy that much. Man, no.
He literally cared about Peggy that much. That's the only thing he had for his life. He cared about Peggy so much that he grew old with her instead of like coming back to the present.
He had already finished what he needed with Bucky at that point. He used him up and he went back to the world.
Wow. Anyway, as far as Phase 4 movies, I'm not gonna jump out there and say it was the best because we've had that experience before and we end up backtracking.
Let me ask you this then. We've already seen Woman King. What's your favorite between Woman King or Black Panther 2?
That's close, but
that's tough.
That's tough. I don't have an answer for that right now. That's tough.
You ain't got an answer for shit, bro. Close this out.
I didn't have mad answer. You want me to jump out and say this was the best Phase 4 movie?
How many times you seen Woman King? Twice?
No.
You seen more than once? I mean, more than twice?
No, I only seen it once. What do you mean?
So you still need more time for that too?
No, I'm saying with this movie, what I'm saying is we're still on the high of Black Panther 2. We just discussed it. We didn't dissect everything.
I'm on the low because I was grieving, sir. So I don't know how you on.
You on the high because you hungry too. So this movie,
I'm even lower.
No, I'm gonna just let it sit for a second because you sort of it's just like with different albums come out. Like I listen to music, I'll be like, this ain't hitting, or this is amazing. Then you go back and you digest a little bit, your opinion may change. So
my feelings don't change. It'd be the same when I hear it the first time.
You said Freddie Gibbs had album of the year, rap album of the year.
Nigga, other albums come out, they don't count.
Nah. Anyway, back to Marvel because this I'm gonna let it sit. But it was definitely great. But Winter Soldier's best second movie, in my opinion.
You can't answer that question. You need a year before you can answer that question.
I need a year before I can say that that's the second best.
Yes, because you just said if you can't answer.
What kind of rule? What kind of rule is that? Who made that rule up?
You.
How?
Dad, did he not just? He cannot make a decision. So this
is the best Phase 4 movie. So I'm not gonna jump out and say this is better than Winter Soldier when it just came out.
You said it's not, you couldn't even answer if it's the best Phase 4 movie.
I just said why.
And that's why. And your why need to stand across Phase 1, 2, 3.
It literally
7,
does. What are you
until
talking about? It literally does.
when we get to Phase 7, we'll revisit this question.
Phase 7, this guy.
We got to based on your rules. We gotta wait.
No, all I said was I'm not gonna jump out and say it right now. But at that same logic, I'm not gonna say it's better than Winter Soldier.
How many more views you need to tell me that this movie is better?
Give me 24 hours at least. Like we just watched the movie. You want to jump out there, give it all your want? No, I don't know.
No, you think Chris Evans gonna come and see you about this or something?
Chris Evans. First of all, Cap's dead, so I'm not worried about Chris Evans. But anyway,
you know what? Let me shift this to Jasmine real quick. Hold on, I said
Jasmine chilling.
It's your fault. Chris Evans got sexiest man of the year. I'm blaming you for that. You and this male white gaze. What are you doing?
You see this reach? Wow.
Blame women.
He got the beard he got a beard on the cover, so I know it was you.
Jason. Nope. Stop. No. Only thing that has my gaze right now was Michael B. Jordan and them long locks. And they was freshly done. His hair just got freshly retwisted before he got to that chair. He must have knew Sherry was coming.
I mean, he's in the ancestral plane. They're taking care of him over there.
You think they twisted his hair? They got to, because he got laid. Yeah,
I mean,
like working out too. You see that sweater he had on? His swag was nice, y'all.
Now he was. I mean, I'm glad. I'm just glad. You know what I thought was going to happen when she was in that water? It was dope. That's actually kind of dope how that heart shaped herb, the way it worked, because she did use the gift, the gift that she was given. It brought her out the water into, where they were last. But I thought she was gonna be in Oakland. That would have been super dope if she woke up in Oakland. She was like, "Man, what is this?"
Do y'all think, just to get back to the film, because at the end when they were having that sequence with her and Riri like getting together, coming up with their plan, she came because she said, "I want to also get my brother's DNA." Do y'all think, like through the entire film, she felt like, because this is what I got, and from some context as well, she felt like that she had all these gifts, but those gifts didn't benefit her when she needed them to where she felt the pain and the weight of T'Challa's death, to where she may have felt like, I could have done more to prevent it. I could have done more to save him, to where she may have like put blame on herself. Because, sometimes people get in those situations, they're like, if I would have done more, they would still be here.
Yeah.
To where it's like that guilt. Because then at the end, when like everything was blue, she was able to make that the flower that she couldn't create at the beginning of the film. So like when I saw it and she created it, I was just like, maybe she feels like a weight is off her shoulders, I guess. Of like her actually getting to that point to where she could do it, and then she sees Killmonger, and then she just falls back into a hole of anger because she was lashing out on Lupita.
And I was looking at that, Jazz, when her being unable to save her brother. I thought they were going to address it a little bit more, like when the kid shot the lady, because that's what that's kind of where that played out again. She was like, if I can save her, why are you not allowing me to save her if I can? And I feel like I wanted that to play a little bit more, like in her emotions, like just because that would have been like a big scene as well. Like every time I'm right there, I'm unable to do, or I can't fix, or I can't get to it, and that would have been something that I feel like they could have played into. But
I think because I actually, when I saw that scene, I was just like, is she gonna blame herself through the entire movie? You know what I mean? Just like that guilt, because normally, like when you have thoughts in your head, negative thoughts, you blame yourself to where it's like, I didn't do more, I couldn't do more. So I thought that was gonna be like a weight that she carried through the movie. I'm not mad at it, because I wouldn't want it to be a movie of her blaming herself for his death. Not saying that she caused the sickness, but that she could have saved him. So I'm kind of, like I can see them going that way, but I'm kind of glad they didn't the same, like on the same side.
I mean, she was grieving. I mean, she was grieving best way she could or that she knew how. I mean, which was not basically not doing it because she was bearing, like Chris said, she was bearing herself in her work. But then
Right.
you have her mama died. So like, regardless of how she felt about her brother, shit, I'm now having to grieve my mother in the same exact instance. And that's so her entire mindset is just I'm on revenge. Like that's not.
And then I would say like watching this film, you all the lead actors were women.
Mm-hmm.
It was all actresses. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, oh man, the sexist geeks gonna be in the basement mad, like fighting air, complaining about the film because you didn't have any like males coming to their rescue too much. I mean, M'Baku, he was there, but Shuri could do it on her own. You know what I mean? To where she didn't need him to save her, but he did provide guidance and counsel. But like all the lead women were just able to handle their own. So I thought that was also cool. And I was just like, people probably gonna hate. They're gonna be mad, they're gonna be upset. Just like they was with She-Hulk. Because her and Meg was working in the office. But yeah. So y'all got y'all Link of Thrones. Did y'all want to add anything else to the movie? Anything we want to discuss?
I know Chris was upset he didn't get his doom at the end.
Honestly, after watching the movie, I'm not that upset because I like that it was just centered strictly on Wakanda and Shuri and that whole story. And I think, excuse me, adding Doom to that, I don't want to say it would have done an injustice to Chadwick and like the tribute to his film, but it would have been like
It would have overshadowed it.
in a sense because he's such a big character and everyone would have been talking about that. So I'm glad that they kept it self-contained, and also the same thing as I mentioned earlier, where they didn't really have anyone outside at the funeral. Like it would have made some sense logically, but just the fact that they didn't have it, I also understand that point too. So it would have been cool to see Doom, but they got plenty of time to set that up later. So I ain't tripping.
Yeah. Y'all Link of Thrones.
Link of Thrones. I'll go first. I want to go. Why are you laughing? I want to go with Michaela Coel. She didn't have a super big role in this movie, but she was in Black Mirror. Um, in the episode of Black Mirror. Have I done a Black Mirror Link of Thrones before?
I don't think so.
One of y'all two have.
Oh, well, if I did it, then forgive me. But
I don't remember making no searching a Black Panther or Black Mirror graphic. So I'm gonna say no, you haven't.
okay, cool. She was in the episode with they were on a spaceship with the guy
Oh,
from Breaking Bad.
Like Star Trek looking
Yeah,
one.
the Star Trek type. Yeah,
SS 7.
Caliber or something.
That episode was so amazing.
Yeah, that whole season was dope for real. Oh, guess not.
I didn't say you talking about Jack because I was like I don't I have to finish it. I think I was in season 3, but I didn't finish. I did watch the Yaya episode, but that's everybody was talking about it. But yeah, I
It was,
regret it. I'm like, oh man, come on. Man. Who you
but
got, Jack?
I will say my Link of Thrones will be Miss Queen Angela Bassett, because of course. And I'm going to say American Horror Stories Coven. She's been in a few of the American Horror Stories seasons, but Coven was the best one. So, and she definitely made it worthwhile. So,
Okay.
Cool. And I'm gonna go with Miss Riri, Dominique Thorne. She was in Judas and the Black Messiah. I really enjoyed that movie. Yeah, check that out about Fred Hampton and how the FBI screwed over the Black Panthers.
like they did in so many different cities.
Yeah. I was gonna say Jazz had an easy Link of Thrones with Angela Bassett, but it's Angela Bassett. So can't get that off. But yeah, Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2, the sequel. Um, fresh off the watch, we had to hit y'all with the review. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Good episode. Our third Marvel film. We love Marvel. Y'all know that by now, so we had to get this to y'all. Any last comments? Anything, to say, Jazz Jackson?
No, movie was good. I definitely recommend going to check it out in theaters. Great experience. Take your Kleenex.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. But yeah, was it good though? Episode 23?
Yes.
Yes, Jordan here. You got it. Episode 23. Of course, I gotta say it every single episode, all the support that you guys have been showing us. The subscribers on YouTube are going up. Of course, we want y'all to keep subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting, following on IG. Our Discord community, we got that as well for y'all to join. Jason. Okay. For you guys to join and just we appreciate all the love and support. Was it good though? Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We out.
We're gonna do the yeah.
Gotcha.